All right, so um, welcome. This is PBL in the time of COVID, and we started out with a little Phineas and Ferb, which is exactly how we started the first day of school this year. There were a lot of concerns going into this year, but what we wanted to do, what I wanted to do, was kind of start with a PBL. And so this presentation is going to be in the form of a PBL as well. And so my driving question is, how will I, as an educator, provide students with hands-on problem-solving activities during virtual learning? So this is where I wanted to start, to take kids' concerns that they weren't going to get to do science or build stuff this year and show them right from the start that that wasn't true and that they would. In the spirit of a PBL. There's a lot of things you need to know going into a PBL and things that you might be wondering yourself. So, how long was this going to take? Will students be able to access materials? How can I help them without having them in the classroom with me? How will the students interact? Will parents support this idea? Will students still learn the content? And is this going to cause more stress when that was not the intention? So if we start there at the bottom, will this stress out students? Like I said, we started the first day that was fun. We jumped right into it from the beginning. And we started off with a little bit of getting to know each other and kind of just linking in. PBLs do such a nice job of linking in other stuff that kids care about and that they might find interesting, giving them some choice in what direction they go in. And we just talked about like their favorite sorts of rides at amusement parks. And this was the basis for the project. Unlike a really open-ended PBL, that we did have to do some modifications, and some of these modifications we did for virtual learning could work really well as additional scaffolds to help students in person even. So one of those was a bit more of a template construction to make sure they included all the aspects of the project. That just a really clear statement and sort of one go-to source for information for both them and their parents to understand the expectations of the project. We also worked in even things like tier 2 vocabulary, so that as they were going along, the information was there in sort of a chronological fashion as they needed it. Always, I think when people are spending a lot of time on a PBLs, will they still learn the standard they need to learn? And so we factored that into and a lot of explanation at the end. We also, another scaffold that could work, I think, really well outside of sort of virtual schooling is having really tight timelines. This was important. We put it into Google Calendar so kids would know what to work on for asynchronous days. But so many 504s also have kids break down projects into smaller pieces. This could be something that works for everybody all the time. Student-to-student interactive elements is easy when you're in a room together, but a little tricky when everyone's in their own home. So we started a series of roller coaster feedback workshops where they were in groups and they would do some group problem solving together. Things like brainstorming, sort of what's working, what's not working, helping each other to answer questions before coming to the teacher to answer their questions. And what about materials and parents and things going on at home? Well, it was really positive. Parents were really glad that kids had something to do off the computer, to just have a change of pace. And there was a lot of flexibility about materials. So even in the classroom, maintaining the spirit rather than a particular product gives you a lot of room to just make the most of what you have. It totally worked. So this is not one of the questions they asked me to answer, but this is going to be really fun for you to see. Just a quick snippet of a few projects. Adrenaline Peak, the Coaster of Doom, Spacewalk, and this is just one that's a more moderate sort of cardboard, but fulfilled all the requirements using literally cardboard and Scotch tape. You'll see that some students did videos, some students did still photos and explanations. So they also had a lot of room in how they displayed their learning at the end. And this one's built on a walker, which is really making the most of what's available. So in the end, the kids have to write a conclusion. The end of every engineering design process is looking back and making plans for change in the future, just like what we're doing as lead innovators. I think this was a great success. I don't know that I had a turning point, except that probably thinking of the feedback workshop groups for the kids supporting each other was really helpful. And it was a challenge because we were making it up as we went, but weren't we all this year? When we did our second PBL about dollhouses, we folded in a few more members of our CT, and we also gave the kids an option to do it on Minecraft, which loses a little bit of hands-on, but helped to alleviate some of the struggles they had with materials. In the future, back in person, I'd open up even more. But like I said, a lot of these structures to get this done with virtual learning can be really helpful structures for kids that need a little bit more support with organization and planning. And I think the other success was that more CT members joined. Even now in our fourth quarter, we're doing How to Be a Rock Star, and we got half the teachers doing that along with us. So overall, a great success. Again, I'm Jen Cortesi, and if you have any more questions, please don't hesitate to reach out and ask. Thank you.